when we have a system of inequalities, this shaded area is the solution. So I want to look for my points and plot these points on my graph. -4, -2 is right here. It's in the shaded region. So that one is a solution. If I plot -1, 1, it's right here on the dotted line. So that's not a solution because dotted means it's not included. If I plot -2, -1, again that's on the dotted line, so it's not included. And then if I plot -2, +1, I get a solution in the shaded area. So I have two solutions that work for this equation. This was B. For this inequality, sorry. Which equation represents a line that is parallel to AC? Parallel means they have the same slope. So I need to figure out the slope of this line. Slope is rise over run. So to get from A to C, I go down 2, so -2, and I go over 1. To simplify this, it's -2. This is my slope. When I have an equation in y equals mx plus b form, I'm focusing on the m. The m is the slope. So it's the number that's attached to the x. I need to pick the equation that has an m value of -2. That one's +2. This one's -2. This one's 1/2. And this one's -1/2. So B is the one that has the correct slope. Number 12. Which function is perpendicular? Perpendicular tells me I have to do opposite and reciprocal. Reciprocal is another fancy word for saying I'm flipping the fraction. Opposite means I change the sign. It goes through these points. x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have to use my slope formula. My slope formula says I subtract my y's on the top and I subtract my x's on the bottom. So -1 minus 0 on the top and 8 minus 4 on the bottom. So -1 over 4. That's the slope of this line. If I do opposite, then my slope's going to be positive because this one's negative. And if I flip it, it's going to be 4 over 1. This simplifies to just 4. So I'm going to look at all my choices at my m's. These are my m's. And I need the one that's 4. So it's choice C. Number 13. Determine whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we've got a couple different equations. This equation is in point-slope form. When we have point-slope form, our slope is out in front of the parentheses here. So this one has a slope of -4. This equation is in standard form. I need to get this equation into slope-intercept form. I would do that by putting the x on the right side and then getting the y by itself by dividing by 4. If I have x over 4, that means the same thing as 1x over 4. So this is going to be my slope. I'm comparing these two values, -4 and 1/4. They are opposites and they are reciprocals because -4 is the same as saying -4 over 1. So these are perpendicular. Number 14. Which graph shows the solution to the following system of inequalities? This tells me that I'm shading above because it's a greater than sign. And there's no bar underneath, so it's going to be a dotted or dashed line. So I need to find this line. It has a y-intercept of 2. So if I look at my graph, This line has a y-intercept of 2, but it's a solid line. So this one's wrong, because that is supposed to be a dotted line. This one has a y-intercept of 2. It's a dotted line, so that line is correct. If I look at this shading, it's shaded above this line, so that's correct. So far, this one matches the top equation. For B, if I go here to 2, I see that this is a solid line, so that's wrong. And then for D, if I go here to 2, I see that I have a dashed line, so that is correct. And I also see that it is shaded below this line. So it's shaded in the wrong spot. So this one's wrong. For this problem, I was able to determine my answer just by the top equation. On your exam, you might have to look at both equations. This tells me it's shaded below, and it tells me it's solid because the bar means solid. So if I look at this line, it is solid, and it is shaded below. So it meets the criteria. So our correct answer is C. Number 15, write the inequality in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. I need to look at my graph. B is 1 because b is the y-intercept. My slope is down 1 and right 2. If I plug in these values, I just need to now decide what symbol goes here. In order to decide what symbol goes here, I need to look at this shading. I am shaded above this, so I know it has to be greater than. And the line is dashed, so I do not add a bar here. This is going to be my final answer.